Good morning, Henry County High School students and staff. Principal Sagas are coming to you on this wonderful Monday with today's Wildcat news. Students, always going to remind you, don't forget meals. They need to be picked up from 10 until 1. You can pick those up at Eastern Elementary School, Newcastle Elementary School, or here at the high school from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Grab your breakfast, grab your lunch for your meals. Students also, if you are a flash drive student, flash drives are available today starting at noon until 4 o'clock. Swing by. Mr. Robbins will be ready and waiting for you to come and grab your flash drive. A few congratulations go out. First of all, congrats to the Wildcat football team as they took on Owen County Friday night and put a smackdown on them 48-0. And also congratulations to the boys soccer team on Friday night. They took down Walton Verona 2-1. Good luck to the girls today. That's the girls golf team. They're in the NCKC golf tournament today. Good luck on their teeing it up in that tournament. That's all the Wildcat news for today. We're going to flip it on over to Mr. Robbins with Rapping with Robbins. Mr. Robbins?
Thank you, Mr. Sagerser. I want to follow up on kind of the sports over the weekend, guys. I was able to see a volleyball game last Tuesday, I think it was, and the girls did a great job. Sweeping Owen 3-0, and sounded like the football team did an excellent job on Friday night. So I don't know if that's the first time in history or what that we've kind of swept across the board when it comes to beating Owen County in 1 week, that many games. But shout out to all you guys for doing a great job. Flash drives, I'm going to follow what Mr. Sagerser said. They're all out front, so if you come by, just ring the doorbell and I'll bring them out to you. Make sure you bring your ones from last week back. And remember, guys, some of these when you get these flash drives, there's work on there to be done. Some people turn their flash drives back in, and some of the flash drives are empty. So make sure you complete that work when you bring it back in, because just like I was talking to Mr. Blevins earlier, when it gets to a point where they have to put grades in, you see zeros. You know, it's too late to be able to turn that stuff in, or at least get it in a little bit earlier. All right, so let's get a little bit more motivated when it comes to handing our work in. Another shout out to Mr. Shearer. Earlier today, we had some kids in the building with Miss Moore, and we're kind of going through the arrows, which is pretty impressive to see them and how they were following the arrows. And there was a section where the kids came to and they didn't know where to go, so Mr. Shearer was right on top of that, put his arrows throughout the corridor, the front of the building out here in the milieu, and did what he needed to do to help our guys out. So shout out to you, Mr. Shearer, always there on the point to help us out. Before I get into my repping part of the push-ups, I've got something, kind of a story I wanted to throw out there. I always like throwing a quote out. This story comes from a buddy of mine who was refinishing his old farmhouse. He had a plumber that was working. The plumber worked all day, really hard, and then it came to a point where he had to leave. He had a flat tire. So he lost an hour on that work. His electric drill quit, and then his one-ton truck refused to start. So my buddy took him home. That whole drive home, the guy sat in silence. When they arrived at the house, he invited him in to meet his family, but on the way in, there's a tree on the right of the sidewalk. The man reaches up and he touches the leaves of the tree, and my buddy kind of watched him, did not know what he was doing. Left the tree and walked on into the house, hugged his kids, hugged his wife, and then when it was time to leave, he left again, and the buddy was he wanted to know why he touched the tree. So when he asked the man, he says, well, when I come home, I can't do anything about the troubles that I have on my job, so I leave it on my tree and ask God to keep them there, so when I come back out in the morning, I can grab them when I leave. I don't ever want to bring that home to my family. So I guess the moral of the story is, you know, when he comes out of the house the next morning, he said the funny thing is that those troubles on that tree aren't as heavy as they were the day before. So the simple thing, we talked about last week, the simple things in life. We all go through troubles when it comes to our days, whether it's, you know, we as teachers trying to get lesson plans out there, or students trying to get the work done, where I know a flash drive is a different part of school and it's really hard, as I've emailed a couple of you all. But that pain is only temporary when we go through it. So let's stick together again. Enjoy the simple things, overcome these obstacles that come our way, and not let it weigh it down, let it weigh us down too much. And a lot of times we as adults not bring that home to our families because it's not their fault. So keep that in mind, guys. All work together on this. My last part of this, with repping with the Robins, is some push-ups. So I want to give a shout out to the Nolan boys. Looks like you all knocked your alls out. So their challenge now, and I hope she's listening, this challenge goes to Miss Van Zyl. So Miss Van Zyl, heard a conversation you were having with the young lady about military the other night. So you got 20 going towards the Nolans. So a big shout out to the Nolan boys for completing those. And I'll do my 20 now. And there's my 20, so Miss Van Zyl, that goes back to you, and that's repping with Robins.
Thank you, Mr. Robbins. Ms. Van Zyl, you've been challenged. Our next segment is Sutley Circle. Mr. Sutley.
All right. Thank you, Sagasser. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all had great weekends. I'm going to start the first show of every week with a literary exercise. This one, it's called The Guy in the Glass. But ladies, this applies to everybody. That's just the way that it was written by this gentleman named Dale Wimbrough. So look him up. He's an interesting character. I looked him up today. I've heard about this, I've heard this literary exercise for years. Never looked into who wrote it, but when I see quotes now, I want to go and see that person's backstory. So I went and looked up this Dale Wimbrough guy. Interesting character. So go have a look. This one's called Guy in the Glass. When you get what you want in your struggle for self and the world makes you king for a day, then go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that guy has to say. For it isn't your mother, your father, your wife, whose judgment you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the guy staring back from the glass. He's the fellow to please. Never mind all the rest, for he's with you clean to the end, and you've passed your most dangerous, difficult test if the guy in the glass is your friend. You may be like Jack Horner and chisel a plum and think you're a wonderful guy, but the guy in the glass says you're a bum if you can't look him straight in the eye. You may fool the world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but the final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the guy in the glass. So that's from Dale Wimbrough. Take a look. That's the literary exercise for Monday. So seniors, I'm going to be in your Life 101 classes this week. So first, third, and fifth, maybe some fourth today, but then also second and fourth tomorrow, talking to you about three things. Number one is parchment, how to make your account, why you should make an account, and what you're going to be using that account for. And then the second thing is ACT, talk to you about the dates again for the ACT. And then the third thing is about setting up meetings with me so we can talk about your future plans once you graduate from high school. So that's the plan for today and for this week for you seniors. For all of the students, you should have gotten an email today to set up your Parchment account. So if you use the link in that email, it'll make setting up your Parchment account a whole lot easier. So now I'm gonna make a little turn here. We're gonna shift to something a little less serious, but still very important. JTB, if you could get the mobile camera, if you could get a shot of my phone here in a second. So I'm driving back to school today, and I'm so thankful to be back in the building, and I'm pretty fired up about what's happening. And as I come through Eminence, I look up at the sign at CVS, and like a beacon of light guiding me home, I see this on the sign. JTB 24-pack of water. Now, listen, I knew that we had something special in JTB. I didn't know he had his own water already. That's impressive. So, obviously, what I do is I go buy some JTB water because everyone, well, I'm pretty serious about hydration, and if it's JTB, it's got to be better. So, it also says it's called Just the Basics, but there's nothing basic about our JTB, okay? He's next level. So, Henry County, make sure you can look at that person in the glass and stare him straight in the eye. Stay hydrated.
I'm feeling out of the loop. I have Dasani,
We'll get you some.
and this is what I say to Dasani. Got to get some JTB water. Folks, that's all the news we have for today. I hope everyone has a blessed day. Remember, once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. So for Principal Sagasser, Mr. Sutley, Mr. Robbins, and of course, JTB.
JTB!
Have a great day, everybody. Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated, people.